Hello, bonjour. My name is Nicole Matiation, and I'm the Executive Director of On Screen Manitoba, the Province Media Production Industry Association. Et c'est mon plaisir de vous accueillir aujourd'hui to the RBC 10,000 Emerging Filmmaker Pitch Competition on the Gimli Film Festival live stream. Bienvenue. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge that many of us are participating today from somewhere on Treaty 1 territory, the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. Some of you may be participating from other ancestral territories, and I invite us all to consider the ways in which we can be mindful and respectful of the people, the language, and the history of the territory where we find ourselves, and to express our gratitude in our everyday lives. So now, this is the 9th annual RBC 10,000 Emerging Filmmaker Pitch Competition. And we would not be here today without the many sponsors and partners who make this possible. And number one, podium here, is RBC, and of course the Gimli Film Festival, On Screen Manitoba, William F. White, and the National Screen Institute. Now we're going to start with a welcome from RBC. So I'd like to invite Mike DeLuca, Commercial Account Manager, to bring greetings on behalf of RBC.
Perfect. Thank you, Nicole. Thanks, Nicole. Good afternoon, everyone, from wherever in the world you may be watching from today. When Gimli Film Festival announced that it was going online, something Festival Director Aaron Zager said in response to the COVID uncertainty we were facing at the time really resonated with me. He said, "You can't stop us." This determination, confidence, capability to pivot this year's festival are some of the many reasons why RBC has been proud to be a leading supporter of Gimli Film Festival for nearly a decade. And you know who else can't be stopped? The individuals and teams who will take to the stage shortly to pitch their short film ideas to the esteemed jury. And thanks again for being with us today. The RBC $10,000 Emerging Film Competition spotlights and rewards storytelling at its best. Only given a few short minutes to express their ideas, these storytellers leave us captivated and wanting to hear more about their film ideas, born of their experiences, imagination, and creativity. Just as how we're rallying around the reopening of the film industry in Manitoba, we recognize that now, more than ever, we need to rally around our storytellers. This is what Gimli Film Festival has been doing for 20 remarkable years. Thank you to On Screen Manitoba and Gimli Film Festival for your tremendous partnership over the past 9 years, providing local filmmakers a platform through the RBC Emerging Filmmaker Competition to pursue their passion and to inspire all of us. And now, I'm looking forward to hearing from our pitch competitors today and to watching Matthew's premiere of First Session. Thank you.
Why did RBC create the Emerging Artists Project? We deeply value the artists who inspire creativity and imagination, and who contribute to the fabric and strength of our communities. We seek to unlock the potential of emerging filmmakers, musicians, performers, visual artists, and writers by providing them with mentorship, exposure, and training so they can become the established artists they have worked so hard to be.
Thank you, Mike. And I'm just going to say a few words about On Screen Manitoba before we continue with the program. So On Screen Manitoba is the industry association, and our membership includes individuals, filmmakers, directors, producers, people who work on set, people who work in production offices, as well as unions and film festivals and training organizations. So we really represent and speak for the entire industry, and our job is to help make it grow. You may have seen some production trucks in recent weeks because production has started up a bit. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Those are feature films that are shooting right now, movies of the week. We've got a couple of series coming to town, one in English, another one en français for the first time in Manitoba, which is fantastic. And then there are many documentary productions that are underway right now in factual series. So there really is a lot happening in Manitoba. And we look forward to continuing to remain in conversation, not only with the applicants, but also with all of the finalists and the winner of this pitch competition as they continue their careers in the industry. So now we're going to move on to the Gimli Film Festival, and it is my pleasure to welcome Michelle Aikenhead, who's going to bring greetings on behalf of the Gimli Film Festival.
Thank you, Nicole. That's awesome. It's so wonderful to be here with everyone. I see Erin. Hi, Erin. I see lots of people, actually, which is really wonderful. But I am thrilled to be bringing you greetings from the Gimli Film Festival. The board of directors sends their best, especially for a big hello from Janice Johnson, who's the festival founder and our chair. So they all wish that they could be here, but obviously we just kept it very limited. So I am here and very excited to be here. I'm very grateful. The board of directors is very grateful to our premier sponsor for today, RBC, and to our partners from On Screen Manitoba, from the NSI, and from William F. White. You know, if I think back to March and April, when everything was just kind of going crazy and we were doing our plans, and we really had a couple of options. One option was, well, we're not doing a festival this year. And Aaron Zegers, who's here today as well as our festival director, said, well, there is another option we could look at. And we had many, many, many discussions. And we finally said, you know what, you're right, but we better go to our sponsors. And we went to our sponsors and our supporters and partners and said, you know, hey, we might be doing this virtual. What do you think? They didn't even flinch. Everybody said, yeah, we're in totally. And that makes such a difference. That's what makes this such a special community to be a part of. And I'm so happy about that. We are experiencing now our first virtual festival, and it's our 20th annual festival. So very, very exciting times. But this today is my favorite event. I've been to every one of them, every pitch competition. Absolutely my favorite. I have laughed at many. I have cried at some. I have had goosebumps at every one of them, I'm sure, at different moments. You are going to see some amazing people. I met them earlier. They are really ready to throw in their best, which is awesome. I think back to some of the previous winners of this event, and they have gone on, quite a few of them have gone on to make features of their own and work in the industry and are very successful. So this is a very important event for emerging filmmakers, and I hope everybody who's watching this realizes that you are watching filmmakers of tomorrow. And that is so exciting when you think about, you know, this is the future and we're part of it right now. So for those young people, those emerging filmmakers who are in the other room right now and going to come out and give their best, let's give them our best and, you know, watch this and really enjoy everything. It's a very, very special day, and they've done a lot of preparation. So thank you, everyone. And if you have not already been into the GFF On Demand or the other live stream programming, please enjoy it. We've got a couple of great days ahead of us for the festival, and let's just have fun. Thank you, everyone.
All right, and in case you're wondering why there's this little delay as we go back and forth, because we're working in COVID-19 conditions, not only is everybody around me wearing a mask, but we also have to wipe down the mic in between each of the speakers. So we're all adjusting to a new way of doing things in so many different ways. But this event, as Michelle said, it's been here for 9 years, and she and I both have been at them all. I think I may have missed one. It is as pertinent today as it was when it started 9 years ago. And it really is a doorway for emerging filmmakers and storytellers to enter the industry. So I too am really excited about what we're going to see today and every day. every year of this event. But before I bring on the pitchers, I want to introduce our esteemed jury. We really are very fortunate to have a great group of women here today, starting with Joy Lowen, who is a management professional for many years. Joy and I have had many opportunities to work together. And she has a lot of experience nurturing the development and production and promotion of Canadian storytellers, both in her broadcast and festival programming roles, and now especially in her new role as the Chief Executive Officer at the National Screen Institute, which is also a partner of this event. So thank you, Joy, for being here today. I can't clap. I have too many things in my hands. Next up, I have Holly Moore. She's an investigative producer with 2 decades of experience working on investigative news and long-form projects. Currently, she's with APTN Investigates and has been there since 2016. Prior to that, she was associate producer with CBC Manitoba's I-Team, where she produced nationwide projects. As well as working as a researcher and associate producer with Merit Motion Pictures, which is a local production company for CBC's Doc Zone, and she's made some of her own shows for MTS On Demand, and is also an award-winning filmmaker in her own right. So thank you, Holly. And number 3, we have Robin Summerfield. She's a producer of CBC Manitoba's Creator Network. The Creator Network works with filmmakers and writers and illustrators, animators, performers, photographers, anyone who wants to tell a story digitally. Robin is fantastic in meeting with people. She's been involved in a number of On-Screen Manitoba events, and people love to meet with her and talk to her about their stories. She is also an award-winning author and journalist, radio producer, and former magazine editor. So thank you, all 3 of you. All right, so now we're going to start moving on to the pitches. Before we start, just a few words about the process. Each pitcher or pitching team will have 3 minutes to pitch, and then the jury will have 5 minutes to provide some feedback and ask questions. So I have our esteemed timekeeper, Mariam Dector, sitting in front of me, who will be holding up time cards for the pitchers for 1 minute and 30 seconds, and the same for the jury. And she will be relentless and will cut people off if necessary. So that's how this is going to work. And I think that is all of the housekeeping. So now it is my pleasure to invite up our first pitcher, Chelsea Mark, who will be presenting the Callback.
Hello everybody, my name is Chelsea Mark and I'm from Dauphin, Manitoba. I'm a Chinese Métis actor, writer, and filmmaker. Of the 3, I really find that acting is probably the toughest because each time I audition is kind of like a job interview. So in that way, I'm going for job interviews all the time, which is super stressful. And almost every time I leave an audition, I beat myself up, and it's not a lot of fun, which I'm probably going to do after this pitch as well. But I have found that the times when I left it all in the room and I didn't worry about it were always the times when I booked the roles. So that's what my screenplay is about. If we don't worry about things, let the universe take its course, it'll all work out. So now's the time you've all been waiting for. It's time to play Kinsman Jackpot Bingo. My screenplay is called The Callback. It's an 8-minute comedy about an actor named Stu who goes in for the dream role callback audition of his life. This is the one he's been waiting for. He has an amazing performance, walks out feeling confident and good, until he returns home, where he lets his self-deprecating ego go to work. He gets so angry and frustrated. He's ready to give up acting. He even picks up his childhood toy, Grumpy Bear, and throws it across the room. But magically, Grumpy Bear lands on the first acting book he had ever purchased. Stu picks up the book, and ironically, it opens up to the actor reset chapter, which states, in order for the actor to revive his mojo, he must go on a 48-hour off-the-grid cleanse with no human contact. Stu doesn't know what to do, so he confides in his main decision maker, the Ouija board. He duct tapes Grumpy Bear's paw to his, and they spell out H-O-M-E, home. He's thinking, home, my home? No, I'm here. Grumpy Bear's home, the forest. So Grumpy Bear and Stu head off to the forest, battle the demons, have a great time. Stu comes back invigorated, ready to dive back into acting, until he picks up his phone to notice there's several missed calls and voicemails from the casting director. So what do you think those messages say? The Callback, coming to the Gimli Film Festival in 2021. I want to thank the RBC and the Gimli Film Festival for this amazing opportunity. My name is Chelsea, Mark, and thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Oh.
Thank you, Chelsea, for that. That was very funny, fun and enthusiastic, and a great concept. One of the questions that quickly just came up for me was locations. Actually, there's two questions. So how many locations will you have for this? And then also, have you considered, or maybe you didn't articulate this, but does the bear have a voice? Like, does the bear like an actual, like almost like a buddy movie almost? That's sort of what came to mind, but does the bear have a character, a voice that you bring to life?
2 meters.
Oh, right, yep.
So first of all, the locations, I've actually already set dates to shoot this at the Winnipeg Film Group at the Lodge, because I actually got production funding.
Yep.
So I'll be shooting that in August, late August. And then all the scenes in his house, and at the audition room will be set in the building, well, in this building actually. And then the scenes that are being in the forest, I'm just going to pick a small park just to corner it off. It doesn't need to be this huge drone shot, or like, it's just going to be him in the tent battling the demons with shadows and stuff like this, and just kind of walking into. So that'll be like a quick shot. And then, what was the last question?
The bear. Is the bear a character? Are you going to have a voice for him?
No, but he will be shot in stillness, which makes it funny. I don't know if you, sometimes when you look at things and you, like if I was to look at this water bottle for a long time, it actually comes to life. Not today. But he's going to have, it'll be like, blah, 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 Grumpy Bear. And it'll turn to Grumpy Bear, and Grumpy Bear will just be in stillness. Like, he'll talk to Grumpy Bear. He talks and has a dialogue, and Grumpy Bear is just still.
Okay, good luck. I don't want to eat up all the judges' time, so I'll pass it to Joy.
Bravo and well done. Thank you
you
for setting us off on such an energetic note. It really was a delight to listen to you and hear your story, which comes from a genuine place of authenticity for you, I suspect.
Yeah.
And that really resonated. Just further to what Robin was asking, though, if you can explain a little bit more about the production. So who are you working with? Great, congratulations on getting production funding. But tell us a little bit more about the production aspects in terms of who you'll be working with, your crew, and post, just to, paint a picture for us in that world.
So, because I haven't spoken to anyone yet, I'm waiting till after this competition. But my concept, whether I'm shooting it with the money or not, it's going to be shot in the same way, which is all about mentee and mentors. So I'm going to be a mentee myself. So my production crew will be 10 people, 5 mentees, 5 mentors. And not my dream, but my wish for this money is that I can really pay the mentors, like from pre-production, post-production, and pre-production and post, to carry myself and the other mentees along the whole ride. So this is what I'm going to do. So I haven't really, I've got my list, but I'm not going to say because they're like, what? What? Chelsea? You never told me. Like, what are you talking about? You know, so I'm not going to drop names like that, but I do have a list. And whether I get the money or not, it's full out mentee, mentor, and they'll just have to be pro bono if I don't get the money.
Fair enough. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, well said. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Hello.
Thanks, amazing energy. It's really great when somebody bounces on stage like you do.
Oh,
so
thank you.
Way to go. Not stage, but why will people want to watch this?
This is like, in my mind, the perfect time because people need comedy. Man, it's been COVID-19. Other things happening around the world just kind of put people in the dumps, and I think it's going to be an 8 minutes what will bring you up and make you laugh, which I think the people and the world need. Like, we need to laugh now. We need to take our minds off watching the news. How many COVID cases happened today again? Oh no. What phase is it? You know, we need time to sit back and relax.
Who are your demons?
Who are my demons?
Yeah, you mentioned fighting demons, but
Demons is my ego.
I don't know who they are.
The demon in every actor's worst enemy is themselves.
Yeah.
Like, what happened in there? Did I say that right? Did I smile too much, the casting director? Like, all these questions start pouring in after auditions, like anything you can think of. So the biggest demon is Stu. Stu's ego is the demon he has to defeat.
Okay, and just quick question. Will we see the demons? Are they physical manifestations, or are you like in your brain?
No, it'll be audio, or it'll be via the shadows. In the tents, it'll be the shadows and voices to be like...
Not characters.
Oh, and it's the casting director's voice. That was a little bit campy, wasn't
nice.
it, Stu? So it'll be all these things people go through.
We got to go.
Okay.
Bye. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Chelsea Mark, and thank you to the jury. We're going to move on to our next pitcher, but just a quick note. New this year, there will be an audience award for the pitchers. So watch and listen carefully, audience. You're going to have a chance to vote for your favorite pitch as well. And now I'm ready to call up the next pitcher. Pitcher number 2 is JOANNE Roberts. And she is presenting Anak.
When you look into your mother's eyes, you know that this is the purest love you could find on this earth. But imagine, if you will, a world where that isn't the reality. Imagine a reality where a mother's love is weaponized against you, to be used as a reward and then taken away as punishment, where the person who is supposed to keep you safe from harm is the one causing it. Furthermore, your culture dictates that it is your responsibility as the child to love and protect your mother. But wait, isn't it supposed to be the other way around? This is where we open Anak. We see a woman standing in front of a closed door. This is Mia. She's an Asian woman in her 30s. On the other side of the door, we hear a voice. This is Mia's mother, and she's calling her name. The door is the only thing between them, but there is much more than space keeping them apart. Throughout the film, we see key moments of Mia's life. These are flashbacks facilitated by the opening of Mia's door. The first flashback takes us to her childhood, where we see the dynamic of their relationship, bonded through trauma. The second, we see a much older Mia realizing the harsh reality. Their relationship is unhealthy, toxic, and only one of them is willing to seek help. In our finale, we revisit Mia at her door. We see her hand on the doorknob. Hanging in the air is a choice, to give in and open the door, or to walk away. This is a real moment in time, a major crossroads for many Asian children where they have to decide what to sacrifice, themselves or their family. We end with Mia turning the knob as she utters one word, Mom. It's a key factor in this film that Mia doesn't say a word. We see her on screen constantly, but she doesn't speak. This is representative of the role that she's supposed to play, the obedient child, the one that keeps the secrets. It's not until the final moment of the film that we break her silence. Mom. But what does this mean? When the film fades to black and the credits roll, the audience is left holding their breath. Did she open the door? And then, a more personal question. What would I have done? This film will have its challenges. Writing and executing a film where the protagonist says nothing, yet with her silence says everything. Capturing this specific dynamic on screen will be nothing short of a feat. There is no room to waste a single moment. All of the artists on this team will have to cohesively work together to capture tension like a breath of air and hold it through to the finale. I can do that. I can make this relatable by exploring very broad themes, culture, boundaries, relationships. I can do this because this is my story, and I'm the right person to tell it. And I hope if I get a chance to do so, then the children of this hidden world, children just like me, will find the support they deserve and the strength to speak out about it too. Anak. In Tagalog, anak means child.
Again, I'm going to say well done because I'm just moved by the way in which you told the pitch and the story that you want to tell. You referenced a film, but there's also a finale that you had spoke about. So just clarify for me the genre. Is this doc? Is this fiction? Is it a web series? Is it a feature? Just paint a broader picture for me.
Yes, my apologies. It's a 5-minute short film, and I envision it in 3 acts. We have the first flashback, the second, and then the finale with the door. Yes.
Well done. Yeah. Okay, good.
Thank you.
Hi. You had me at overbearing mother, so.
I get that reaction. They're like, oh. I'm like, yeah.
Well, and I think
You
it's
know.
universal, right?
Yes,
Like I think that,
absolutely.
daughters struggle constantly with their mothers. It's one of the primary relationships. So I really appreciate that you came and just kind of laid your heart open like that. That's really, really, really amazing. So, and very relatable. So you're adding culture as well as confronting your mother or Mia's mother.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see it happening visually? So you talked about not a moment to waste. What is the mood that you're looking for? What
I'm
do we
looking,
see?
it's a little bit experimental. I don't want to say that it's so positive or so negative. It's somewhere in that black space, gray space in between where this relationship could be misconstrued as unhealthy, or it could be misconstrued as something very positive. So I believe in Asian dynamics because we have such a secretive culture that we don't speak to outsiders. So outsiders looking in can completely see it in a different light than what we experience it personally. So I really want to play with that gray area of, is this something that is completely understood and very universal, or is there a secretive element in play here?
I think you could have a lot of fun with props and sets and like plastic covered furniture and like
Yeah.
all those. Like I think it could be a lot of fun.
I
Great
have
pitch.
so many. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. That was a wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
I might have missed this, but do you ever reveal like the main issue or the problem with the dynamic between the mother and the daughter?
It'll be mostly in the first flashback where we see the dynamic of their relationship.
Okay.
Again, it's a little bit of a gray area where some people watching it may or may not understand, and I'm hoping by the end of the film that they do understand that this dynamic is very specific and it's very unhealthy.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that it'll come through.
And just a quick production question. So do you have are you going to be in it? Like you seem pretty dynamic yourself. Like are you starring in it?
No, I have this thing where I don't want to be behind the camera and in front of it at the same time.
course.
I want to make sure that the story is done properly. I also really want to connect with other artists who identify as emerging and people of color. I think it's really important, especially for an Asian film right now, to be shown and broadcast. So I would love to do just a search for a wonderful Asian actress to fill this role.
And do you have production staff in mind? Like have you lined up anybody?
I do. I've approached a couple people. I would like to work with a couple friends of mine from the Ordinary Film Co.
Yeah.
So they'll be my DOP and AC. I have a hair and makeup artist lined up and a set deck and production artist as well. But mostly I want to look for people and grow my inner circle.
And what do you see as maybe the biggest hurdle you might face in filming this?
I believe that looking for our actors is going to be a big hurdle, just because, I mean, our main character doesn't speak, so finding an actress that can pull that off internally. I envision Mia as an adult, but also our like little child Mia, who also needs to take on this heavy responsibility of showcasing this dynamic. Also, perhaps reaching out to other artists that'll be on the production team. I think that it's a little bit difficult finding people who identify as emerging and people of color, just because we don't necessarily use the traditional avenues of casting. So that might prove to be a hurdle, but I'm really confident that I have a lot of resources I can pull.
Okay, and I have 1 minute. Why does this story speak to you so much? Why, like, where's the impetus of this story for you?
It's biographical in nature, and when I was growing up, it was, I couldn't speak about it lest I be ostracized from my entire family. And as I have been on a journey towards, improving my mental health, I've realized that people that are very close to me also experience a dynamic that's similar. Some people have the same background as I do. Some people have a completely different cultural background. So for me, it's this unspoken issue, but it's very prevalent in so many homes right now. And I just have this deep sense of obligation to speak out for people, so people struggling know that they're not alone.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Excellent. So thank you to the jury, and thank you to Joanne Roberts. Now, our third pitching team is a team. So I'm going to invite up the duo of RIVA BILLOWS and Ryan Steele, and they are going to present Summer 2017.
Oh, wow. So hi, everyone. Our film is called Summer 2017, and it's an artful coming-of-age movie about a young woman filled with feelings of helplessness after a concerning revelation about her best friend's boyfriend.
And before we get into things, we just want to give a quick content warning. We will be discussing topics which include implied sexual assault and abuse of power. So our story begins on a hot summer night. Sandy and Paige, two best friends, women in their early 20s, are climbing the fence of a public pool. Sandy has a few sips of her beer before joining Paige in the water, and Paige dives right in.
Yeah, so in the water, there's a montage of the two of them drinking and swimming. There's also abstract shots of the camera moving through the water, and during this montage, there's shots which flash back to scenes at a party that happened earlier where we're introduced to Paige's boyfriend, Connor, and we observe his behavior from Sandy's perspective.
Yeah, and this culminates in a scene of Connor taking Paige by the hand into his bedroom and then closing the door. And so back at the pool, Sandy asks Paige, how is everything going between you and Connor? And Paige nonchalantly, she says, something happened.
And before Sandy has time to respond, the lights come up at the pool, and a security guard with a flashlight comes out and starts yelling at the two women, who grab their belongings and hurry back over the fence.
And then we see the two women at a bus stop. The streets are completely empty. The last bus for the evening has already come and gone, and Paige looks around, and noticing that Connor's apartment is only a 10-minute walk away, says to Sandy that she would like her to walk her there, and Sandy obliges.
At the apartment, there's only one window with the light still on, and Sandy asks Paige if she'd rather just spend the night at her place. And Paige confidently says that since they're already there, she'll just spend the night at Connor's. Paige buzzes up to the apartment, and Sandy starts walking away, and after a few moments, she looks back and realizes that her friend is gone, and that's when our film ends. So this story is really personal to both Riva and I, and we think the most thoughtful way to tell this story is by focusing on the dynamics of the friendship under duress and simply implying the violence that's happening and leaving it up to the viewer's imagination.
Exactly. And Ryan and I, in our own personal lives, we've had those exact moments that the women have had, and our hope is that anyone who sees this film and is either struggling with abuse or has a friend who is, and they don't know what to do and they feel helpless like Sandy, they'll see this film and feel a little less alone.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi. Great pitch. I'm with you the whole time. It's got like a nice arc. So you've got a bit of flashback. You've got an ending. I'm not a huge fan of being not told what's going on. Maybe it's because I'm a journalist, but have you thought about just revealing a little bit more?
Yeah. Ryan, do you want to speak to that?
Oh my gosh. Yep. So a lot of our influences for this film is more horror films, like just in terms of the film grammar of it. And we think you'll be able to project more by keeping the violence vague. And to us, like, the film is more about the women's friendship, and we don't want to make like trauma porn, you know, and like because it's such a sensitive subject, like we don't want our film to be graphic. So that's our reasoning.
And also, this movie really, the point of it is we're touching on the insidious forms of abuse that exist, especially like in art communities, in our communities, in our lives. It's not necessarily bruises on the body. It's something a little bit below the surface.
Subtle, like more subtle.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because she does go into his apartment, like she's not scared for her life, and.
But you know something happened, and I think a lot of that will be a challenge on the actors to portray that.
That's true. Yeah, because you'll have to do a lot of it with face and like the interpersonal, like Paige looking scared, you know, like. But it's a very interesting idea. I like the pool aspect. Sorry, I like the pool aspect a lot because I like underwater photography. So thank you.
Thank you.
So many things for us to remember. Thank you, Nigel, for that. And thank you for your pitch. There's a couple of things that sort of I want to touch on your partnership. It was a really nice exchange between the two in telling the story. But maybe you can just give me a little bit more background as to how it is that you two came together to tell this story now and the work you've done prior to this.
Yeah. So Ryan and I have collaborated on a bunch of different projects in the past, and this is actually our first time collaborating as producers and scriptwriters. And we think that we are like a very dynamic duo because of, especially on this project, what was so important for us is that there's two different perspectives, right? There's the friend who wants to save the friend, and then there's the friend who maybe doesn't know fully yet that she needs to be saved, but there's an inkling that something's wrong, and she'll discover it later on. And for Ryan and I in our personal lives, I felt like both friends, and I know Ryan has felt especially like Sandy, who's our protagonist. And so I think that just really adds so much weight to the script.
And like more specifically, so Riva's going to be acting in the film as Paige, and our friend Sophie.
Yeah, Sophie Smith, Das Muhammad, who's a professional local actor and a friend of mine. She'll be acting alongside me.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna be directing and like doing the actual like camera operating of the film. And Riva and I have been working, like we were quarantined together and we've been working on the script.
I love it.
Yeah, and
COVID isn't all bad.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, thank you for the question.
Yeah, and if I could just sneak in one more question about your audience, because this is very tender subject matter. So where, I sense that there is a lot of thought that's been given to the audience, but tell me a little bit more about how you want the venues and the platforms on which you want this story told.
Yeah, so I can imagine this being played in film festivals just for us as filmmakers, but I really think the audience for this film is online, and I think it is for young people, and our hope is that young people in their early teens who are maybe going through these feelings and experiences would find it, and it would be easily accessible.
Great. There's many ways we can support the pictures today, and I applaud you.
Thank you.
I loved it. It was a really good pitch, and I actually was thinking, I don't even know if I have a question for you, which is kind of lame. No, I'm like, ask another one, and I have 30 seconds left. You talked about why it's important to you. Why do you think this story needs to be told right now?
Yeah, I think it's incredibly personal for me, but it's personal in the sense that it's also global. And I think every woman knows someone who knows a friend who has been abused or has been abused themselves. And I think there's so much pain that comes with the silence. And I think the purpose of this film is there being comfort in that silence.
Thank you so much. It was well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again to Riva and to Ryan, and thank you to the jury. All right, moving along, we have another duo who's competing for pitch number 4. So I would like to welcome to the stage QUAN LUONG and ERIN HEMBRADOR. They're presenting Roadie.
Hi everyone, I'm QUAN and this is ERIN, and we're here to talk about our movie Roadie. So this film is about a roadie named Jesse and a struggling musical duo he looks after. While the band members are ready to move on and get a real job, Jesse, on the other hand, is willing to do whatever it takes to make this work because this life on tour is all he's ever known.
So the film opens with the band performing at a dive bar, and it's poorly attended. This has been an ongoing theme for their shows, which is why they decide this gig will be their last. Jesse's responsibilities as a roadie varies from day to day, but at the end of each show, his main responsibility is making sure that the band has a place to crash. So this comes in the form of one-night stands or becoming buddy-buddy with people at the bar, and it's never anything more than that. It's just a, hi, can we crash at your place? And then the next day, they're on to the next city. On this particular night, though, they meet a girl. Jesse meets a girl who has an opportunity that could change the band's career.
This gig turns out to be a bust, but through exploring this opportunity, they realize that the key to success has always been their love for music. So the film ends with the group exploding on social media after an impromptu live stream performance on their van ride home, becoming Band in a Van. So ERIN and I are at very different stages of our lives, much like Jesse and his band members. That's why we want to make this movie relatable for everyone, no matter where you are in life. Roadie is for the ones who dream and dare to pursue their passion, whether if you're a 22-year-old who eats, breathes, and sleeps his craft like myself, or Roadie, Jesse.
Or you're a 31-year-old like myself who has to find balance between her passion of filmmaking and the impending responsibilities that come with adulthood.
So Roadie is set in the current day in a small town. Principal photography will be over the span of 2 full days and a third pickup date with a skeleton crew of 12 and 4 locations.
So as the diverse filmmakers, we want to have diversity both in front and behind the camera. I'll be directing, QUAN will be the DOP. When it comes to casting, we want to blind cast, and we also want to cast musicians so we can showcase the local talent in Winnipeg.
That's it for our pitch, and we're ready for your questions.
Thank you. Thank you for that pitch. It was there's humor in it, and I love humor. I love when we can find stories that make us laugh. So thank you for that. You didn't mention, or maybe you didn't. I missed this. How long are you making this film? How long will the film be? Is the question.
We're aiming for 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. And the look of the film. Do you have a sort of an aesthetic that you're going for?
Yes, it's a very indie movie, and since the opening will be at a dive bar, so you can imagine a very low-key setup on the stage, and it's
like
a very
a garage band kind of feel, or
yeah, it's a dive bar, and
Yeah.
it's a smaller music venue.
And then are you also, the line that I wrote down was band in a van. I love that. I love that like image. So do you have a plan for that? Like, is that an actual scene in the film?
Yes, so they will be, after the gig is a bus, which turns out to be a birthday celebration. Jesse looks over at his band and say, I guess it's time to go home. So they get on their van to go home, and they start jamming in the van. So they start live streaming it, and then that blew up on the internet. So it's literally in the back of a van.
Okay, I could ask another question, but I should pass it on. Should I pass it on? Well, I guess I'm curious about like why this story bubbled up for you. Like, where did this bubble up for you?
So this film is inspired by my former instructor, Jim Agapito,
Oh, love that guy.
who spent his 20s traveling around, and this is actually a true story of his. And then when I came to ERIN, she didn't want to just do it, and she wanted to find a good angle from it.
Yeah, when he first approached me with the story, I told him, you know, I'm kind of on the fence. I need to see how I connect to it because that's the way I can direct. And so that's how we found, you know, like we worked together and we've noticed differences because of our age and like what like he wants to do and what I can do. So that's how we found the angle, and I think it works really well with the band and the roadie.
And this is a story about artists, and we're making it as filmmakers about musicians, so we have a subjective view from it to tell the story as authentic as possible.
I love it. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, bravo to you both. I know, point at the camera, look at me. The question I have relates to budget. So I hear lots of actors, I hear some travel, small town. Tell me, is $10,000 enough, or do you have plans for additional funding?
It is enough. We made a budget actually, and we have it if you guys wanted to look at it.
We'll spare the audience.
He's gonna go get it. But yeah, we've made short films before with less money, and we've made it work. We have some of our own gear as well. He's a DOP. I have a background in sound, so we can save costs there, and we've worked with people in the same group already too.
Perfect.
When you said a lot of actors, it's actually only 3 main cast and love interest, and also it's a skeleton crew of 12, so it's not a lot. And 4 locations counts a dive bar, a house with a backyard, a van, and another small venue for a birthday party. So I don't think it's
pretty streamlined.
a lot. Yeah, it's not a lot of locations, I think.
Okay. Good, great ambition. And I love the themes. I think that a lot of what you're presenting in terms of your own personal story and what you're drawing from, they resonate. There was something that you had mentioned, and I'm going to forget it now, but well done in terms of the pitch.
Thank you.
Oh, great.
Oh, sorry. Any story that drags people into adulthood, I love, right? Because there's such a tension when you're an artist of like rotting in the garret or getting a job at a not-for-profit. Like there's so many themes there. Is the band any good?
Yes, the band is good. And like I said, we want to find local talent. And when it comes to the score, we want to get a composer who can hopefully also be the talent that we cast. Yeah. So yeah, it's like a good indie band that we were thinking would do folk music, kind of alternative.
And do they get better as the thing goes on, or is it just sort of this spur moment with this live where they just explode?
Well, the movie is mainly about the roadie, so the only performance that we see is the beginning, quick shots of the band performing, but the band is pretty good themselves, so I guess they've been down on their luck, and they finally exploded when they stayed true to their passion and not think about the money side anymore.
Yeah, that's just a quick comment. Like I see them in this dive bar. It's very sad and very down. You know, you could really do a lot with the mood of that, like where their energy is really down, but then they're in the van and they're just like having fun. Because I think you have to establish if the roadie's belief in them is plausible or not, right? So I think that's going to be really interesting to see how you do that. Yeah. Yeah, I was looking, yeah. Thank you guys, great pitch, thank you.
Thank you, QUAN Long and ERIN HEMBRADOR, and thank you, jury. So now we are on to our 5th and final pitch for this morning. It's my pleasure to invite Blake VERMETTE, who is presenting a film called Standing Still.
Life can often feel like a path we're expected to follow. We're told in order to succeed, we need to go to school, to college, to find a home and settle down. Always looking forward to the next milestone can often lead us to forget about the important moments of our daily lives. If we're constantly thinking about the future, we fail to live in the present. Standing Still is the story of a young man named Austin who discovers the importance of living in the moment. When a worldwide pandemic hits, Austin soon has to come home from school. He was so excited to go to school, but now he's devastated. However, with Theo's help, his younger brother, he realizes the silver lining situation and takes the time to be a kid once again. In the rush to become an adult, all too often we lose touch with our inner child. This film is an important reminder to hold on to a piece of our youth as we grow. The story largely stems from my experience learning this lesson. As an engineering student, success is important to me, but sometimes it can make me feel like I'm missing on the fun and playful moments in life. When I reached the beginning of the maze that is life after high school, I decided to go to university and got swept up in the strenuous workload. Almost like a piece of me is being pulled away from my artistic aspirations I nurtured for the past few years. It all felt so overwhelming, almost like overnight I'd become an adult and soon be putting a down payment down on a house. This dilemma is all too common, in that many young adults feel unsure of whether they should follow their hearts or succumb to social pressures in doing the safe thing. In pursuit of independence, all too often we hurry into responsibilities without ever stopping to ask ourselves if it's what we really want. As a young student, I believe I'm in a special position to tell this story, as I have personally dealt with feeling like I'm losing my youth. But with time away from school, I've had the opportunity to rediscover its importance. And I believe this film is a special reminder that holding on to our youth is very important and can be beneficial to us all, as it brings joy and positivity into all of our lives. The budget for this film would provide me the opportunity to better realize my visual style for the film. For example, I like to play with the perspectives of the two characters, using camera movement and positioning as a means to convey their differences. When the camera would be on Austin, the older brother, it would be locked down with symmetrical framing and little to no movement. This would then be contrasted with Theo's visual style, where the camera would be on a gimbal or a dolly, free to move and dance around. I've been creating short films for a couple of years now and had great success with my friends. We've had the opportunity to premiere or to screen at the Toronto International Film Fest, at the 48 Retrospective, and have won Audience Choice Award for the Winnipeg 48-Hour Film Fest. I feel receiving the funding from RBC would help us further our goal in being able to touch an audience in an impactful way. Also, being able to premiere at the Gimli Film Fest would allow us to touch an even greater audience than ever before, which in turn will allow our message to be seen and hopefully even beneficial to more people. Thank you for your consideration.
Heard of that? Thank you for that. I think this, you know, your idea is so relatable right now. Yeah, it's really relatable. Yes, very relatable. My question, just to start out, is the length of the film. What are you thinking?
It would probably be around 3 to 5 minutes.
Okay.
It could be a general short.
Now, forgive me, but did you, like, what is this sort of the arc of the story? Like, are they the two brothers set in the house, or what's going on with them?
Yeah, so essentially with the story, the concept was that Austin was so excited to go to college that he even forgot about, you know, potentially saying goodbye to his brother properly when he left to go away. So then when he comes back after the pandemic, and he finds himself with nothing to do. So he then nurtures that relationship with his younger brother, because I know all of us can probably relate to this. Right now, we need to sometimes be a bit of a kid,
right,
to fill the time.
So is it, sorry, did I?
Yeah, so essentially the arc of the story would be him realizing that it's important to hold on to a piece of our youth and also connect with family.
So do you see like the story unfolding in the home, at the family home, or where do you see the story unfolding?
So a large portion of the film would be in the family home, just because that's where a lot of bonding happens. But I'd also like to really make it a Manitoban film. Because me, myself, I've been born and raised in Manitoba, same with all of my friends and crew who will probably be working on this film. So it's very important to us to, you know, showcase Manitoba in all its beauty. So I think we'd like to, you know, have different parks and stuff where the brothers can engage and redevelop their connection.
Okay, one last question, I promise. So, and the action, like, when you said, like, kind of become a kid again and, like, grab onto that inner child, time to be a kid again, what kinds of kid things, like, how does Austin realize or grab onto his inner child? if that makes sense.
Right. Well, sometimes being a child doesn't necessarily mean playing with toys. Sometimes it just means being able to take a second to drop the work that is holding us, captive, putting that down and taking time to just be ourselves and explore what we love to do. And for me, that might be taking time to stop studying engineering so hard and maybe just make a film. That's what this really is about.
Yeah, okay, I think it's really interesting that you're an engineering student that does films. Okay, I'm passing that off. Thank you.
No worries.
And I'm happy to pick up a bit on that because in listening to your pitch, that was the one thing that came across and I applaud you for just embracing your inner artist in this moment. There is a timeliness to this story that I think, let's just make this now and get it out there. Tell me a little bit more about the script itself. So, further to the question that Robin was asking, is the script been completed? Is it written? Do you have in mind is the script, let's start there.
Yeah, the script it's not entirely complete just because for certain things we're waiting to see, how much funding we can use for certain elements, just because we like to create our scripts in a very detailed format of what we'll be able to use. So without knowing, if we're going to be able to do this film to the full potential, it's difficult to finalize it, but it's definitely at a point where it's almost.
So you've got it in a draft sort of treatment kind of sketched out way.
Yes.
And you do speak of your characters. I mean, I like how you technically, you know how you're going to present them. Yeah. You talk about we, and in the past you've made films with others before, but just in this case, who would you be working, what's your role and who would you be working with?
So I usually work as producer and director of photography. Okay. So for this film, I would be kind of adding a little bit of writing and direction as well. I often work with Adam Yarish, Jared Weber, and Jeff Kazik. So 4 of us went to high school together at Oak Park High School.
Great program.
Yes, it is incredible. Thank you, James McClellan.
Yeah, well done.
So we grew up making films together for the past couple of years, and we've had a lot of success. Every film we make is together, and we do it all together.
I love a lot of what I'm hearing here. Congrats for getting it this far.
Thank you.
Way to have a day job. Very few people get to do both. So I applaud you for that. That's really, really smart. I wanted to know, does the brother have any kind of epiphany? Does the camera work change at the end when he has embraced his child? What's going on with that?
Absolutely. I think towards the end of the film, it would shift a little bit more towards Theo's visual style, where the camera is on a dolly or gimbal and it's free to move and dance around, just as it would emulate their perspectives on how they should live their lives.
Is there any conflict between them?
At first, there's not so much conflict directly, but there's a bit of hard feelings when Austin just leaves without saying goodbye, so his brother is a little bit hurt, but there isn't necessarily any fighting or conflict between the two.
Okay, thanks so much. It was a great
Thank you.
pitch. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Blake Vermette, and thank you, jury. So I think a number of our pitchers might have preferred to be behind the camera, so I thank them, and great job, everyone. It takes a lot of courage to stand up here in front of a camera or in front of a live audience, the way we do other years, and share your projects. So congratulations to everyone. So now it is time for the jury to get down to work. You thought they were working hard asking questions, but we're going to send them off to a private room, and they will deliberate and come back in a few minutes with the selected winner. So thank you to the jury. Now, if you're watching from home or somewhere and you are interested, you may vote. This is the first year that the pitch competition has allowed for an audience award. So please scroll down under the video screen that you see there, and you will see a Google form for the audience choice. You will need to be signed into a Google or a Gmail account in order to vote. and you can only vote once. Now, and the prize, this is a brand new award, so I should say there is a lovely little prize pack from the Gimli Film Festival for the Audience Award winner, and especially you get to brag about winning the Audience Award. Really exciting to see this edition this year. So now, while you and the jury are deliberating, I have the pleasure to introduce or reintroduce last year's RBC 10,000 Emerging Filmmaker Pitch Competition winner, Matthew Van Ginkel. Matthew, do you want to come on screen with me?
All right, hi.
Welcome, welcome. Now I have to change pages again. So, what do you think about this online pitching? You didn't have to do it this way last year.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting experience, but I'm glad that the show's still going on, that the competition can still move forward, so that's really great for having an online platform.
So if you had the choice and you could do it over again, would you choose a live audience or would you choose an online audience?
Ooh, they're both so hard to choose from. I mean, so many people are watching either way, so I can't choose.
Fair enough, fair enough. So I'm really anxious and keen to share your film with everyone. This is the premiere of your film. Very exciting, online, potentially an international audience. This is excellent. Do you want to say a few words before we roll the film?
Sure, yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in and for seeing all the other pictures. Good job, congratulations to all of them. They're all winners in my eyes. Yeah, I'm very excited to present my short horror film first session, which is, I'm not going to give too much away because you guys will see it shortly, but it's just a short horror film about the topic of dealing with mental health, and I'm very exhilarated to present this today.
Okay, that's great. Then let's roll.
All right, amazing.
And then we'll come back and chat some more. There should be thunderous applause. That's awesome, Matthew. Thank you.
Thanks.
It's fascinating to have heard and seen you pitching last year, and you really painted a picture that I carried in my brain up until now, and to see it realized there and how close it is to what you described to us last year, but I think even better than what I imagined. So congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really humbled that you and other people in this room at the very least, and hopefully online audiences enjoyed it.
No, it was great, and I wondered if you could take a few minutes and just talk to us a little bit about what some of the challenges were when you were making the film.
So after winning the pitch last year, I'd say the challenges were, I guess, since dealing with a large sum of money, like the famous saying, more money, more problems. So essentially just trying to make sure, finding the right crew, the right cast, like essentially the right person for the right job to essentially help unload the burden on myself to help make the project happen. Like I got my cinematographer, Mia Kamagon, to worry about all the lighting, so I can just be like, okay, Mia, just go worry about the lighting. And like I went to got my co-producer, Cynthia Murdoch, to help with some of the paperwork, as well as Sarah Simpson Yellowquill. She was my project manager and locations manager, who helped the pre-production and even some of the production and post-production afterwards. And as well as give a shout out to my production designer. I respect art department. Art department, I love you. Madison Summer-Duick, who was my PD. She did a really great job helping bring the eeriness to life with the cinematographer. I guess once all the Avengers have assembled, so to speak, it was just a matter of, okay, what do we need to do? How do we make this work? And I guess the biggest challenge was we were wanting to get this done by March. Like, beginning of March was our deadline.
Pause for the sirens.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Pause for the sirens. Yeah, so essentially our since we had till the summer to submit to you guys, but we wanted to get it done early to submit it to other places, so hopefully more people can experience this film as well.
That's great. I think this is just like a fantastic way of describing the role of the director and producer. Your job is to make a ton of decisions, and to make that smooth, you need to delegate responsibility to a whole whack of people in your team, and including the actors.
Yeah, like to kind of comment on that, like I know my limitations. Like there are certain jobs I can't hope to do. So essentially, finding people to complement my weaknesses would be that was the crucial goal for this project.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have a question from the audience. So just a reminder to the audience, not only can you vote on your favorite pitch, but you can also ask questions of Matthew. So the question from the audience is, where was this shot?
This was shot at Churchill High School. They were very accommodating. It was a great location to shoot at. So thank you very much to the Winnipeg School Division and the principal and head custodian of that school.
Always thank the custodian.
Yeah.
My dad was a VP in school, so he said, always thank the custodian. That's great. And tell me a little bit about the actors who played the monsters. That's a really demanding role to be really just playing on a physical plane with no speaking.
Yeah. So for the monster actors, during my time, I went to school at the University of Winnipeg. Like I went through the film department there, so naturally, I made the, I guess, now wise decision to befriend a bunch of theater actors. So essentially, when I was looking for monsters, I'd be like, okay, theater actors, go. I know you can move like crazy. Yeah, so that was my goal, and as well as open casting, so we managed to find the right people, and the audition process was a lot of movement. I had them move really differently, really strangely.
Yeah, I actually wondered if some of them had dance training.
Yeah.
They did?
Yeah, a couple of them did, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's great. It's really, it's so well orchestrated. So yeah really interesting. So another question from the audience. What movies gave you inspiration for this film?
Ooh, this one. Well, I'd say a lot of, I'd say the overall horror genre was a big inspiration. Off the top of my head, I'm going to say It Follows to a certain extent. Obviously, it's a very different film, but a coming-of-age horror story. That's kind of what this is, sort of like a coming-of-age horror story. That's sort of the similarities between that. And I'd say I took inspiration from Robert Eggers with this film because he built a lot more atmosphere, while this one, I thought that was the right decision for this thing, to go a lot more atmosphere rather than jump scare. Just building the tone was a priority when writing this and directing this project.
Yeah, no, you did a great job on the suspense there, and I think we feel it right through the whole atmosphere. So you said that you finished in March. How many days did you actually shoot?
We only shot for 2 days. Yeah.
So lucky you only had basically one location to.
Yeah,
well,
it was a massive location, which felt like 10, just because of the large space, which was quite fantastic.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
What was your favorite moment in making the film?
I'd say the 2 production days, just because even though I was also producing this, where I enjoy the most, I enjoy the director's chair. I enjoy just seeing all this come to life. Just the hard work from prepping the pitch from last year and dealing with all the paperwork and making sure all the payments go through and all the making sure everything's in line to lead up to the 2 days. So I was able to really enjoy quote unquote being on set for 2 days and directing my vision on screen.
Yeah, an awesome opportunity. It sounds like it was a great experience.
Oh yeah, loved every minute of it.
That's great. Well, I know you've been very busy all year because I also saw you at All Access, On Screen Manitoba's annual industry forum. And so I'm curious, were you pitching there?
I was there more for the networking. I'm currently trying to develop a feature version of the first session that we just saw, and I didn't have that ready to pitch, but I was there to network with a lot of people and to kind of, I guess, scope the land, see what's going on. So I'm not too sure with this whole COVID shenanigans that it might happen, but I'm going to try and make it to the next one and do some pitching.
Yeah, there'll be, we'll probably be doing something pretty similar in January, it looks like. So there will be an all access and an opportunity for more pitching for sure. That's great. I understand you've also made another film this year.
Yes, I participated in the Winnipeg Film Group's 48-hour film competition. Basically, we just shot another horror film about a guy lost in the woods taking social distancing to an extreme. That one was a complete 180 compared to first session in terms of, I guess, workload. Like, we only had like 3 filmmakers, me and 2 other guys and a couple of actors. Complete 180 from like a whole big production, just more guerrilla shooting, which was very nice, while sanitizing and social distancing, of course.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, there's lots of challenges out there, and interesting that you get 2 experiences in terms of 2 very different filmmaking opportunities this year. Very busy also. So I've got another audience question for you here.
Ooh, lots.
Yeah. Where did you get all the paper, and was it just blank pages, or was there something written on it?
Madison will be able to kind of answer that question more precisely than I can, but if memory served me right, it was a combination of just finding, like, I think she, like, correct me if I'm wrong, Madison, but like I'm pretty sure she went like through recycling and printed some stuff off. But yeah, like either recycling or just printed pages of, like, we had like multiple copies of the report card and copies of like failed assignments and that stuff.
All right, so some good recycling.
Yeah,
just in case someone was asking about that.
Some good art department talent there.
I think a lot of good, very strong art department talent there. So here's another question for you from the audience, but it's one I had on my list also. If you were to shoot this film again, what would you do differently?
Ooh, what would I do differently? If I was doing this again, I wouldn't be as stressed.
Famous last words.
Yeah, famous last words, but it's always going to be stressful. Hindsight's always 20/20, but I'm pretty sure that I did everything that I can in my skill set, and I don't think I would have changed anything per se, but just stepping stones for my career.
So you're pitching it as a feature now. So how's your pitch change? What would be different when you're imagining it as a feature film?
Still hard to comment at the moment because I'm still in the script writing process, but I'm still going in the same direction as like a coming of age horror film. That's sort of the tone of it, and can be a lot more atmospheric horror. So I'll pitch it in that sense, but it's still too early to give a clear answer on that.
So are you writing the script yourself? Are you co-writing?
I'm just writing myself at the moment. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Well, there's some really excellent programs out there to support script development. So if you haven't found them yet, make sure that you give On Screen a call or talk to ERIN. He knows a few too.
Ooh, I'll definitely keep an eye out.
So we started talking about your other film that's playing at the Gimli Film Festival. So this
Yes.
is in the 48-hour special COVID-19 edition.
It is.
And the film is called No Contact.
It is, yeah.
And when is it playing?
It's playing at, I'm pretty sure 4 p.m. tomorrow, Central Time. It'll be in a lineup with a bunch of other, I'm sure, fantastic 48. So I'm very excited to tune in and watch all of them.
Yeah, the 48 hours are always a lot of fun. There's so many ideas every time.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
Is this your first time participating in the 48 hour?
I participated in a 48-hour a long while ago when it kind of first started off, and I did another one while I was living in Vancouver. So got a little bit of practice before doing this one.
All right, so you've got a few films under your belt.
Yeah.
What are your plans? I mean, I know you're working on the feature film, but what are some of your other plans for the coming year?
For this coming year is, aside from the feature film writing, my dreams and goals is to get more involved with the film industry here in Manitoba and to make myself more established and hopefully go from there.
Sounds like a great plan.
Yeah.
So looking back again over your experience in making this film, what are the biggest learnings that you took away?
Biggest learnings. I guess one thing that I learned is dealing with a large sum of money. It wasn't as difficult as I initially thought, in the sense of I'm just here to make another film. I just happen to have more resources. So, and after my pitch, everyone RBC and Manitoba Film and Music eventually later kind of trusted me. So I'm like, okay, I got to deliver this and just do what I got to do. Just trusting myself, trusting the vision that I pitched, and go from there.
Well, you did a great job again. And so you finished in March. What efforts have you made for outreach around the film? Are you applying to film festivals? Have you had time to do that yet?
Yeah.
You've been pretty busy.
Well, the good thing about the internet is that it's super quick, super easy just to go on Film Freeway or Festome and just click a few festivals, enter your credit card information, and just hit submit.
So as long as you've got a bit of cash on hand, you can just keep submitting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, good thing I was very smart with my budget. MFM really came in after spending the initial $10,000, and I was able to have some budget left over for festival distribution.
That's great. And a little bit of marketing, I'm sure.
Yeah, a little bit of marketing. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got a really interesting question now that came from the audience that's getting more at the content of your film.
Okay.
So have you considered how this film could portray therapy as traumatizing? And was that part of your intention, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so basically that's actually a really good question. Thank you for asking that. So the initial message of the film was just to portray the struggles, like whether someone may be challenging, where for myself, I took great inspiration with my development with autism. That's sort of that's my interpretation of it, and I just kind of left it open for others, like other people I show this to, really related to anxiety or depression in that source. And I deliberately kind of left it very vague as to if the therapist is actually getting through to James's character, or to the main protagonist, or if they've gone through to him, or if it's still like a barrier. It's sort of in this project, I didn't want to have James go through this adventure and then like magically cure himself. Like, it is a lengthy process to deal with mental health issues, and I wanted to show that he's making a bit of progress, but there's still a long journey ahead for the character. Because normally it's one therapy session and you're not magically cured. I don't believe.
No, I don't think it gives that impression. With the crew and with the actors, did you talk about the content and some of the themes, and consider sort of the impact of the theme on the people working with you?
Yeah, so I talked to the main cast. I talked to Dakota and Mariana. They were like the main actor and the therapist. I kind of gave them a lengthy kind of like backstory, even though this was like a short 5-minute film. I kind of talked to them about just essentially the character's past experience, what they're trying to do, and the challenges that would overcome. In terms of the crew, they were very eager to come on board, especially with a, I guess, different take in the, like, especially in the horror genre, just to have more to touch on that subject in that genre as well.
Well, I think there's a lot of themes that are explored through the horror genre. It isn't. It's true. Some people believe that it is just about the.
Yeah.
It's just about the shiver and the jump, but there's a whole tradition of exploring really complex themes.
Yeah, I do love that in the horror genre.
So tell us again what some of your favorite directors or films are in that genre, in particular.
The two that come off the top of my head in recent memory was Robert Eggers in terms of establishing atmosphere, even though he does a lot of horror historical pieces. Ari Aster, also in recent memory with Hereditary and Midsommar, just a lot dealing with more. There's more beneath the surface, and there's more to interpretation. And what was really important for me for Session and hopefully my future projects is rewatchability, where every time you watch the film again and again, you see something different, or you see a different, like, oh, I could see it that way. Like even the question about even the question I was asked earlier about viewing the therapist as in a negative light. That's another interpretation that person might have encountered or been exposed to people who would view that as well.
All right, so a few last words now to encourage or recommendations that you might like to make to future pitchers and future filmmakers.
Ooh, well, sign up for this competition because it's an exhilarating time. But I guess tell stories that are close to you, and they will reflect your passion about it. I guess just tell stories that mean something to you.
That's great. Thank you so much, Matthew. And best wishes with the 48 competition and your future projects.
Yeah, thank you all for having me here. Yeah.
So I think we're ready to make some announcements. So first of all, we're going to begin with the new Audience Award. And we have Mike DeLuca from RBC, who is back to make the announcement for the Audience Choice Award for the RBC 10,000 Emerging Filmmaker Pitch Competition.
Thanks, Nicole. Thanks, Nicole. Perfect. Thanks, Nicole. Just going to move this chair. Perfect, right smack dab in the middle. Here. Perfect. So we're going to start with announcing the Audience Choice winner. And first of all, just want to say on behalf of RBC and everyone involved here, thanks to all our pitchers. I know, being a part of the pitch competition now for a few years, how daunting it can be, regardless of whether you're in front of a crowd of people or pitching to people online. You guys should all be commended for getting up here and pitching your projects. So to all of you, congratulations on that. So to start, we're going to start with the Audience Choice, and the Audience Choice winner this year is QUAN LUONG and ERIN HEMBRADOR for Roadie. We'll have to do like a virtual handshake. Awesome. Did you guys want to say something, say a few words?
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. Perfect. All right. So now the moment that everyone's waiting for.
All right. Oops.
All good.
Now we're breaking the set. So thank you. Congratulations to the audience award winners. Thank you, Mike. And now we are going to do, Mike and I are going to get coordinated and do the big reveal. Yes. So the winner of the 9th annual RBC 10,000 Emerging Filmmaker Pitch Competition, streaming live from the Gimli Film Festival, is JOANNE Roberts. With Anak. So Mike's going to say a few words.
Yeah, I'm just going to say congratulations. I'm going to let JOANNE take the mic.
I would like to thank my parents. No, Is that too soon? Sorry. Thank you, everybody. I don't know what to say. Did not prepare this speech. Thank you to everybody that has helped me with this pitch. I've had so much invaluable advice. Matt, thanks for giving me some insight into this process. My best friend Cass, who is also very relatable to this story. Julian McCrenna. I'm forgetting a lot of people. Thank you. Happy social distancing, everybody. I'll see you next year. Please take this away from me. Hi, Andrew.
Congratulations, JOANNE. I'm going to invite Andrew Lechichin up now to say a few words on behalf of William F. White.
Surprise. How come Andrew gets to get out of talking?
Just congratulations for all your hard work, and here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations again,
Thank you.
JOANNE, and congratulations again to the audience award winners. Mike, did you have any further comments? Anyone in the audience? No. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for the tech team. You guys have done a great job. All of the Finley Film Festival staff and volunteers, On Screen Manitoba staff and volunteers, thank you. And very, very big congratulations to each and every one of the pitch finalists. And congratulations also to the 24 applicants who came in through the door at the beginning of this whole process. Every one of you are important to this. And I know that the On Screen Manitoba staff, Callie and Mariam, are here, and we look forward, as do many Winnipeg Film Group people that are present, and the Gimli Film Festival, and the National Screen Institute. We're all here for you, and we look forward to helping you develop your careers in the coming years. And I think that's it for today. So, thank you. It's a wrap. Et bon cinéma.